folks. Thanks for joining today. My name is Gar Whaley. I'm one of the co-founders here of Teal. I'm joined by our CITO, Reid Johnston, who is also a co-founder, and we're excited today to be talking about Claude. We usually talk about Copilot because we're in general a Microsoft shop.
Yep.
But recently we've deployed Claude to some folks in our organization. We're having great luck with it, and we want to talk about that a little bit, some basics on how to get started.
Absolutely.
So as Reid's sharing his screen, we're going to jump right in. I would just say that we do have a lot of things to get to. We try to keep these to 20 minutes. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll try to answer them. But if not, we're going to do some more. This is just sort of base level getting started Claude stuff. So we'll do
Yep.
some more on Claude, and you can always reach out to us. We stay up late every night going back and forth on how we're using it. So we're always happy to answer questions. But let's just jump right in, Reid, to Claude.
Yeah.
And first steps, like some of the first things you should do when you start with Claude.
Yeah. So you can go to the website, of course, just like you can go to chatgpt.com, but you want to download the Claude app for your computer. So there's a PC version, there's a Mac version. Um, Download the app. We're in the app right now. And the reason for that is so that you can use Claude Cowork, which we'll cover in a bit. But the first thing you want to do is get it set up the right way. So here I'm in Claude, and in the lower left corner here, I can click on my name, and then I want to go into settings. That's like the first part. There's a bunch of stuff in here. I'm going to jump down to capabilities first, because the first thing that you want to do is turn on memory. So these little toggle boxes here allow Claude to search relevant past chats, make sure that's turned on. Generate memory from your chat history, make sure that's turned on. There's also, if you're a chat GPT user or using some other tool, there is a way to import some of that memory from one of those other tools. And really what that's going to do is give you a prompt that you can put into that system, and it's going to dump a bunch of information, and then you can import that here. But we won't get into that here. But so turn on the memory stuff. That's really important.
But Reid,
Um,
why are we recommending that you turn on the memory?
yeah, so every conversation that you have, you're going to be talking about stuff. You're going to be talking about work, priorities, how you work, what you're interested in, what you don't want. You're having this conversation, just like when you have a conversation with a coworker, they're learning about you. So when you turn on the memory, the AI tool is kind of building this memory that it's scanning through as it's responding to you or prior to responding to you. That way, the responses are going to be more tailored to you. So, and we'll get into some of the instructions in a little bit, but turn on the settings, turn on the memory first. Um, should we go into the interfaces now?
Yeah, unless you want to, did you talk about the models?
Yeah, we're going to do that right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so the interfaces, you have the ability to select different models, but let's start with the interfaces. We've got an agenda here, but we'll go a little bit out of order. So right now I'm in the chat interface, and the chat interface is really for basic question and answer, like help me brainstorm X or tell me about Y. I type in a prompt, I get a response. And the model selection piece is right down here in the lower right-hand corner. The default is going to be Sonnet 4.6. The smartest model or the most advanced model right now is Opus 4.7. So I will often select that because I want the best response possible. It's going to take longer. It's going to burn more of the kind of credits that we have, and I'll show you how you can check that too. But I like to start with Opus. I also turn on adaptive thinking because that's going to cause it to just reason more over what I'm asking it to do. So I want to be working with the A team. So Opus 4.7 and adaptive thinking, that's like the A team. Okay. That's the chat interface. The next one is Cowork. Cowork is something that you can have more advanced uh, tasks for the tool. So if I'm in chat, I'm doing it now. I want a response now. Cowork is, and I'll just start I'll go here. Let's see. I'll go into my projects. I can start a new task. So when I'm in Cowork, this is for a longer running task that I'm going to maybe step away and do something else while the AI is working behind the scenes. So in chat, I would say brainstorm a LinkedIn post for me. In Cowork, I would say brainstorm 10 days of LinkedIn posts for me, considering these documents, considering my website, considering other information. And Cowork is going to sit there and it's going to churn over it for a while. Again, in Cowork, I can select the model here. Default, I have it set to Opus 4.7 and adaptive thinking. Okay. The third interface is code. Code is for very advanced tasks where you are having a very repetitive workflow that is very, very consistent and there's not variability. That's really what you use code for. We're not going to cover it today, but we should cover it in a future webinar for sure.
Yeah, that one's more advanced, but what about automation or agents?
Yep. So,
Like, which one do you run that in? Which
yeah.
interface?
Yep. So chat, again, is the lightest weight. So back and forth, quick. Cowork is really where you'll have agents and skills, although you can use skills in chat also. But think of Cowork as heavy duty work. Think of chat as lightweight questions back and forth. So,
Yeah,
so those are
so
the
for
interfaces.
yeah, so for me, I'm the sales and marketing here at Teal. So in sales and marketing, I am always working in co-work under projects,
Yep.
and maybe I'm getting ahead a little bit. So, but that's where I work in is in co-work and projects. And generally speaking, as an example or an experience share, if you will, I set up projects based on clients.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm doing work on a specific potential client, it's all in that project called that client. So I have all my artifacts and
Yep.
uh, and other chats within that project.
Yep.
But you're going to get into that in a few minutes as well, I think.
Yeah, so let's talk about projects here. So a project is just a folder that has chats that are all related to one another. It also has other context like files that are all related to one another. So like if I pick something here like AI Bootcamp. So we went to this AI Bootcamp a while ago with Pax8. Um, I created a project for that AI Bootcamp, and I've got a bunch of chats here that are specifically related to the AI Bootcamp, specifically related to content files that I have uploaded that I want the AI to look at. So you
When you
think of
say
a
uploaded, Reid, that looks like they're actually on your computer and you've pointed them to your computer.
Yeah, so I've created a folder on my computer, happens to be in OneDrive actually, and then I've taken documents from other places and I've put them in this folder, and then I've pointed Claude at that folder. So the whole point of doing that is I'm giving Claude a narrower context window to look at when it's responding to me. It's not going to look at files all over the place. It's going to look at files that are in this folder here
So, Reid,
intentionally.
quick question that came in. What is the difference between the instructions in settings that you showed right at the beginning and instructions in the project?
Yep. So think of it as layers. So the instructions in the settings are the global instructions that apply everywhere. They apply in chats, they apply in cowork, to a lesser extent in code. That's kind of the top level instructions. Then when I go into a project, I can have specific instructions in my project that refine how Claude acts even further. So in this project, I have some very, very simple instructions. Always check the MD files for context.
Hmm.
Really simple. Um, I'm not telling Claude how I want my output to be. I'm not telling Claude who I am because I already told Claude earlier at kind of at the top level, but the instructions in this project tell it exactly how I want to work. So the best way to think of it is a project just helps you stay organized, but it also helps Claude focus its attention and awareness in a smaller area to give you a better response.
Projects are also, and Cowork is where I build my agents,
Mhm,
which let's get back to some high level stuff because we're getting
mhm.
pretty deep, so I won't bring that up. But we want to talk a little bit about shortcuts, I think, next. Things
Yeah,
to make your life easier um, within well, Chat Claude, but also other LLMs. The last
yeah,
one is one we use every day, and
yeah.
we should probably get a commission for even sharing it.
Yeah. So let's talk about how to get into the shortcuts. So again, we installed the Claude app on my machine. And because it's an app on my machine, there's shortcuts that I can use. So again, you're going to go into the settings in the lower left-hand corner. You're going to click on your name. You're going to go into settings, and then it's under general here. You've got all sorts of different configuration settings that you can configure. And gosh, where was now I missed my it's right here, general right here. Okay, so settings, general, desktop app, general. This is where you can configure your settings. So I have Claude running at startup. I had to toggle that on. So Claude always starts when my computer starts. So I always have access to these shortcuts. And then the quick access shortcut is you can tap that. Now I'm on a Mac, so I have an option key and I can tap it, or I can tap it twice. And can you see that down here at the bottom?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So anywhere in my computer, I can tap option twice and I can type with Claude. And it's going to open a new chat in Claude with whatever I'm typing. So if I'm in Outlook and I'm thinking about something, or if I'm browsing the web and I'm thinking about something, I can option, pull up this box and I can start typing. Now, the really cool part though is I can also drag over my screen to take a screenshot of what I'm looking at. And then it's going to add that screenshot to my prompt. Tell me about this.
You've
And
been
I,
holding out on me on this one.
what's that?
You've been holding out on me on this one.
Yeah. So you can then start a new chat where now I've got my images there, two separate screenshots, one about a webinar, one that I just took here, and Claude is going to read the content of the screenshot, which is really cool. So
Yeah, what I
that's
think
one
is really
shortcut.
cool. Yeah, while you're going back, I'll just state this that I didn't know about that one because what I do is I use on Windows the snipping tool
Hmm.
or other tools, and I'll just cut and paste it. But the way you just did it is way easier. Now, another question came in, and it goes back sort of to the beginning, and I'm not sure that you answered it exact. I think you answered it, but maybe not as clear. I'm a little confused on it as well, which is like so far between chat and co-work, you can do both of those within the browser. So really,
Yeah.
why? What's the other? I mean, is shortcuts you can't do that in the browser? Like, why would you
Yeah.
use? Why are you
Yeah.
using?
You're not going to use shortcuts in the browser. When you're in the browser, it doesn't have access to the files that are on your system. So that's a key piece. The whole point of Cowork is to do work. So typically in Cowork, we are creating files, we're editing files. Um, you can't really do that in the browser, right? Because you have to attach the files to the chat. Where with Cowork being on my machine, I can give it access to certain parts of my machine that I want it to edit those files. So that's the difference.
Thanks. Hopefully that answered the question. Um,
Yeah, and you mentioned the voice shortcut. So yeah, that's the second one here. So quick access, that's where it pops up the little box at the bottom. The voice shortcut is the other one. I find that most of the time I'm talking to any AI tool that I use because I can talk a lot faster than I can type. So the AI will do better with more context, with a larger prompt, with more information. Just like when you're talking to an intern or you're talking to a coworker, you don't say, write me an email. You say, write me an email that has this information in it. I don't want it too long. Make it 3 paragraphs. It's a lot easier for me to say that than it is for me to type that. So Claude has this voice shortcut where you can do your key combination and start talking. We both use a tool called WhisperFlow. WhisperFlow is like that, but it's not unique to Claude. It works everywhere. So I use WhisperFlow when I'm typing emails. I use it when I'm in my AI tools. I use it on my mobile device. So
that's the one I said I think we should get commission for.
yeah,
And I use it, like you said, everywhere. I use it on all devices. But make sure you're looking into the privacy settings of that and whether that's acceptable for your organization or for you personally. But I have it set so I keep things private. But what I find with whisper flow, and anytime I'm talking to AI, oddly enough, I get a little tongue tied in
yeah.
delivering my prompt because I'm like, should I just talk like a normal human? And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes. And if you're rambling, that's okay. It's
Mhm.
just more context. Where when we type something, we want sentence structure and paragraphs and all that stuff. So we put a lot of thought into what we're typing. And when we're talking, we're just talking. And that's okay. So I encourage everybody that's using any AI tool to talk to it because when you talk, you're going to give it more context.
Yeah,
So
the talking that you showed is it will talk back to you.
it can. Yeah, we can't really demo that here,
Yeah, of
but
course, of
because
course.
we're in
Well,
this.
let's get into a couple because we're pushing on time again. We'll
Yeah,
probably go a little bit over today, but let's get into a couple core features, maybe
yeah,
artifacts and research.
yeah, sure. So one of the things that Claude can do is create something called an artifact. And an artifact is like a document, but it's more than that. It can be a web page. It could be an interactive thing. And I think we could show on a future webinar some small business use cases where you might use artifacts. The popular one, and I don't have one to show here, but the popular one that a lot of people are using is creating dashboards where they've got a document or a spreadsheet that's full of information, a lot of great details. And some people love spreadsheets, but a lot of people don't. They want to see a dashboard. So I can go into Claude and I can say, here's my spreadsheet. Create me a dashboard with the top level information that a CEO might want to look at. And then Claude will dynamically create a little HTML page that I could send out that has all that information in it. So that's the artifact piece. Um, the big thing that is really valuable with this tool is skills. And skills are accessible through the slash command. Now, when we're in Copilot, the slash command gives us access to data. When we're in Claude, the slash command gives us access to skills. And a skill is just a series of instructions to do something a certain way. So I'll show you an example of that. Write a LinkedIn post talking about the benefits of Claude. So very simple prompt. I have no idea what it's going to give me here for an output because it's going to
Live, Reed. We're
use
live.
we're doing this live. So it's going to use my context from the beginning, kind of about me, about who I am, what I want, what I don't want. I turned on Opus 4.7 adaptive. So it's taken a while to come up with this response. It wants to ask, hey, what do you want? You didn't give me much here. I'm pushing back on you. because that's how I want it to work with me. And I'm just going to say, go ahead, make it short. Um, a little bit more context here. So let's let it do this here for just a second.
And I don't know that you pointed out, but we suggest setting, we've certainly said it on other webinars. You need to set the instructions so that your LLM is not a yes man, right? So it's questioning you. It's not just saying good job.
Yep,
So
exactly.
you have those in your instruction set.
Yeah, and we can show that a little bit later here. See, it's actually it's loading my voice profile, which is a skill that I have. So it's smart enough to actually do that. But what I wanted to show here was if you don't give it much context, you're going to get some random output. But if you do give it better context, if I say write a message using Reid voice, it's going to give me a much better output. So here's what it said. Most people use AI to validate their thinking. I use Claude to attack mine. It's a sparring partner. So this is
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
this is a
that's what I was just talking
LinkedIn.
about.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. So now I'll say write rewrite this using Reid voice. And it's going to look at that skill, which is a whole bunch of instructions about the words that I use, the words that I don't use, how I want my phrases to be, and it's going to try to write it. Now we'll see if it comes back and maybe it'll say I already did that for you.
So, Reid, let me try to succinctly state how you made that Reid voice.
Sure.
Step one, you had it look at the last 50 emails in Office 365. And when I did it, I made it prior to when I was using AI, right?
Yeah.
So it was actually how I write, and it created and make me a voice skill. It created the text that I needed to put into the skill I was going to create based on 50 emails prior to me using AI. And then I uploaded that and called it the Gar voice skill. So is that that's the way you did it, right?
Yeah, similar process where I basically prompted Claude to write instructions that use my examples of how I write to be the instructions of how I want it to write. That, I mean, that's succinctly what skill is. So here, so now it rewrote that a little bit better. Sounds a
Well,
little
a
bit
little
more
bit
like
more
me.
like you.
Yeah, a little bit more like me.
Some
Exactly.
people might argue the first one is better.
Right.
Um,
So
all right, so
that's
let's.
a skill, and skills are really powerful, and they're coming to Microsoft Copilot too. So we'll talk about them there too. Um, one of the other really powerful things that I want to show with some of the time that we have left is configuring Claude to talk to your other tools. So again, I went into my name in the lower left-hand corner, go into settings, and there's this connectors. They're moving things around a lot, but at least they help you follow the breadcrumbs. So when I click on connectors, I can click customize. Now here is where we've got access to all of the things that we can connect Claude to. So I've connected it to DocuSign, Google Drive, HubSpot, but you can click that plus sign and browse connectors. And here is where you can see all of the different services that you can connect Claude to today. And this list is changing all the time. But Monday.com is in there, Asana is in there, Box.com is in there, tons of things. And really, what this means is when you're prompting, you can include information from those systems. So you use it with HubSpot all the time.
Yeah, I don't only read from HubSpot, I actually write to HubSpot. So
Yep.
I find myself going into the actual SaaS application of HubSpot much less because
Mhm.
I'm sitting in Claude and I'll say, I have an agent that will brief me on a prospective client. So brief me on Reid Johnston. It is now going to go into my HubSpot contact for Reid Johnston and
Mhm.
all my emails in M365 and any other M365 data I have on it. It will come back and I have it doing a whole bunch of things, but then it will make a suggestion of maybe what I should do next, but then it will actually write a task, my next task to HubSpot. So
Yep.
it'll give me the action. It will allow me to take the action from Claude via HubSpot, and then we'll write back to HubSpot what my next action would be in a task.
And
So
that's
I'm
a
not,
connector.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a connector. So encourage everyone to look through the list, see what's available. The other thing is you go to plugins, and here Anthropic has created kind of a kit. A plugin is like a kit where they're providing you with skills. Uh, they're providing you with connections to different tools. Obviously, you have to have an account with these various tools, but it's kind of a kit that allows the tool to interact with these different systems like Slack or HubSpot or Canva in a really advanced way, like maybe a marketing person would, or some of the other ones here. Let me go back. Sorry, I
there's
can't.
sales, there's
Yeah,
finance, there's a lot of great ones.
yeah. There's operations, finance.
Legal.
Yep, human resources. So we encourage everybody to check those things out too.
Yeah, so we're going a little bit over, Reid, but I think it's important that you get to the sort of as sort of a last thing to talk about today, maybe personal preferences and behavior rules, which we touched on, but they're really one of the things I like to
Yeah.
set up first.
Yep. So again, we're going back down lower left corner, click on your name. You're going to go into settings and it's under general. And then there's this instructions for Claude. So when we went in here the first time, we jumped right down to configuring memory. But right on this main page, this is instructions for Claude. And I have a really lengthy prompt here. Maybe we can share this. I can put it in the notes and we can send it out.
Yep.
Um, but basically, this tells Claude how to act. So I'm saying, be my mentor and sparring partner. Find the truth and tell it straight. Hurt my feelings if needed. Never just agree to agree. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff in here. How to write, how not to write, no promotional tone. Um, there's a lot of debate about how well this stuff actually works. Early on, when you set instructions in Copilot, Copilot was kind of ignoring them. So this is something that I tweak from time to time. But what you're doing with instructions is you're telling the tool how to act. So every time I type in a prompt, it's reading my instructions first, and then it's reading my prompt, and then it's reading the additional context that I give it, like files that I attach or files that are in my project. Before it takes all that information and then it gives me a reply. So the instructions are really important. That's probably the last piece.
Yeah, I would just say that I have in my instruction set no EM dashes. I don't like EM dashes. I don't use them ever. I've never even really heard of them until AI came to the forefront. And I have my briefing agent that I used just this morning. And the briefing agent output, you should send an email, and this is what the email should be. And it gave me the text of the email it said I should send. And then it went on to say, because we know you don't like EM dashes, we've replaced EM dashes with hyphens,
Mm-hmm.
which is something I also don't use very often. So I thought it was interesting. But Reid, this has been great. The goal
Yeah.
here was just to sort of do some high level introduction stuff. I think we did that, but we'll send out the video to all the attendees. We will be doing more on Claude because we're using it so much. Every month we usually do one on Copilot, but we're sort of trying to switch things up. If you folks want us to focus on anything, feel free to send it in. Little plug: we're going to be doing one with our marketing team. It's on our calendar, but we're going to be showing how we're using Claude Copilot in marketing to do our
Mhm.
marketing. So that should be helpful. But folks, thanks for attending. Reid, thanks for sharing a lot more of
Absolutely.
your expertise.
Absolutely. See you later.
Have a great day.